Alright, today we are going to be taking a look at Antergos. Now Antergos is another one of those distributions that aims to make Arch Linux easy to use. And to be quite honest, like a lot of these, they've done quite a good job. But this one I feel goes the extra mile in terms of making Arch easier. Now this is actually the live CD thing. And the reason I show you this is because its installer, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, Kimchi, don't know, is really quite good. Now the first thing that this distro does upon booting up from the live CD is check if its installer is fully up to date, which is quite good because if the installer has ever had an issue and it's been fixed, well, you won't have issues with it because it's been updated before you run it. Now the only thing is it can sometimes take a while to open, but you know, pretty much doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does take a bit. Like I said, this is actually the live CD, hence the slightly small window thing. You can see, you know, possibly black bars, possibly it looks stretched, depends what I do in post. And that doesn't seem to be opening. Here we go. Sometimes running the Kimchi from the dock thing has problems. Point being, the installer looks pretty nice. Makes you feel like you're using a professional installer. Point being, you just click install it. Yes, next. Hang on. Get like a list of regions and stuff. Next. And now this is interesting. You actually get a list of desktop environments and other assorted options. So you know, you got the base install if you want to, like, you know, build your own desktop environment on top of it, which is similar to the Manjaro Net. The Cinnamon, which quite from the screenshot looks like quite a bizarre version of Cinnamon. The Gnome, which kind of seems to be their flagship main desktop, as evidenced by the fact it's the default from the live CD, and that's what a lot of the screenshots are on the site. You've got your KDE, which looks, I'm never really fond of the KDE desktop. This looks like quite a good version of it. Mate, OpenBox, and of course XFCE. Now we're probably going to go with GNOME because it's basically the standard thing, seemingly. And next you get all these awesome options. You've got your Arch user repository support, which is quite useful. Your Bluetooth support, you've got a choice of browsers, take your pick. You can install Adobe Flash or Flash plugins if you prefer. You can install a long-term support kernel, which is quite good if you don't want to, say, upgrade the kernel every so often. You install your LibreOffice. You can install your Steam and play on Linux, which of course I will install everything, just for the point of showing you. Probably also install Firefox, because I can. And the long-term support kernel, probably not. Click next. Yeah, it's all good. And you get the pretty standard option here, but slightly more stuff here than the usual. Just leave it to default. Yeah, click next. Yep. Put in the old name and all that, and you know, load and stuff. Of course. Let's jump in. Password. Not the most secure password in the world, but as you can see, it says it's a weak password, as a lot of these systems do. And now this one is interesting. Unlike a lot of distros, which has everything on live CD, this will actually pull a lot of files from the internet, including all the options you just selected. Now, the upside to this is obviously, you know, you got some more up-to-date packages, you know, you can customize it a bit more in the installer. Downside is installing takes a while depending on your internet speed. If your internet speeds are quite good, it will install pretty fast. If it's not so good, it will install quite slowly. So, I'll come back once this is finished installing. Alright, and we are back. Incidentally, this distribution didn't take this long to install. I was just away. It actually installed relatively quickly for what it was doing. Now, the first thing you'll notice that this distribution looks pretty good. The default wallpaper is very nice, and you get a nice selection of them, as with most distributions. And these are all quite nice. But me personally, I like the one it comes with, because I always think the GNOME desktops go very nice with flat wallpapers. Now, this GNOME is relatively close-ish to stock GNOME. I mean, they've added Dash to Dock, which is basically like a necessary thing nowadays. Or, well, it always has been, to be fair, but it is necessary to make it more usable. And on here, you've got your files, your terminal, your Chromium, and your music, which seems like quite a good thing to put on a dock. Now, if we look at this, you know, you got your standard Arch stuff. You add and remove software. I installed that during the installer. As you can see, it's here, and it of course works. I have indeed tested it. Yeah, a lot of GNOME apps. You get your Bracera, which is quite a good disk burner. Your calculator, a calendar, which is GNOME Calendar and GNOME Calculator. Cheese, which isn't a bad webcam viewer. There are better, but you know, Cheese is quite simple enough. You got your Chromium, your CMake, your contacts, your desktop search, all the usual stuff. GNOME Disk Utility. Now that's good that they did actually include this, because its number one competitor, Manjaro, did not include that, and it's quite a useful utility to have for formatting USB sticks, that kind of thing. So good on Antergos for bundling that. You know, document viewer, your documents, your files. Once again, Firefox, I installed that during the installation process. Their flagship browser of sorts seems to be Chromium. Got a firewall configuration, once again installed that. Your font viewer, your HP device manager. Now, a lot of Arch distros come with this. No idea why, because if you had a HP, I would have thought you'd install it separately. But, you know, to each their own, I suppose. Got your image viewer. Now, I believe this is GNOME Images. And I'm just going to check that. It seems to be no about, actually. It's quite bizarre. But yes, I suspect it's GNOME Images. Because the distribution, when you install it with GNOME, does in fact come with the GNOME apps, which quite good. I rather like the GNOME apps, actually. Some of them seem to be relatively simple, but what does it matter? LibreOffice, I installed that during the installation, which, like I say, the installer had options for, which is pretty cool. Your Light Locker, your logs, your GNOME maps. Play on Linux, which I installed that, but that's really good if you want to get those Windows programs working. Much simpler than Wine. Arguably better as well, because if you do something to one wine bottle, it's not going to drag everything else down, which I rather like. Your Polari, which I believe may be an IRC client. Yes, it is. It's an IRC client. Never used it, couldn't tell you if it's any good, but to be quite honest with you, it looks quite good to me. Can't go wrong with it. You know, you can play on Linux notification there. You've got your Qt5 settings. You know, Qt5, kind of the up and coming thing. You know, you got software update manager, so you don't need to do anything through the terminal. Your sound recorder, quite good. Steam, I installed that during the installation process, like I said. You've got a text editor, which I believe is GNOME Edit or Gedit or whatever you want to call it. Me personally, I would have gone with something different, but you know, no maps. Got your transmission, which once again you'd be surprised with the amount of Arch-based systems that don't include that. Good on them from including it, because you need a BitTorrent client. You got your GNOME tweak tool, once again quite a good inclusion. UXterm, Xterm, I believe some older scripts and that require that. Don't hold me to that, but I suspect. And in terms of software, that's about it. This distro isn't really loaded with bloat. It kind of comes with everything you need. You can actually configure it from the installer, which, like I say, I like that. It's very good. Another thing to say would be the rather nice theming on it. I believe it's the Numix square icons, which I've never seen another distribution use. And I'll tell you, it goes rather well with GNOME, actually. The window border is quite nice as well. Yeah, all in all, this distribution isn't really particularly bloated. It's likely rolling release, so you don't have to reinstall it. And since Pricity OS has recently been discontinued, this is quite a good alternative. Doesn't pile everything onto the GNOME shell like Pricity does though, so it's either kind of a love it or hate it thing really. But yeah, all in all, this distribution does indeed make Arch easier to install. It's quite good. It's not overly bloated. You could probably build your own system on top of this in a sense. All in all, like I said, it's quite good. Don't really have much else to say about it other than check it out. It's another one of those distributions I absolutely recommend. I actually prefer this over Manjaro in many ways. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more content.